Hey everyone, and welcome to the Arduous Journey. This is a show where I take a look at games that I don't really like but that everyone else seems to hold in high esteem. I try and see what people love about the game, while also trying to explain why the game personally irks me a bit. And what better franchise to start off with than the Metroid series? According to my very reliable sources, the original Metroid came out in North America on August 15th, 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was a commercial success, meaning that fans of the game loved it. A few years later, Metroid 2 came out on Game Boy. It was a pretty big success, but wasn't received quite as well as the first. Or the third. Segue to Metroid 3, Super Metroid. That's the one we'll be talking about today, and the one I've always struggled with loving. Sure, the graphics are great and the music is outstanding, but I can never figure out where to go. That's my main problem with this game, and is the main reason this video exists. I've played other Metroidvania games before, but I always end up running around them like an idiot and getting myself lost. Luckily this time, I got a bit further than I usually do on my first try, and actually enjoyed playing the first 2 hours. One of Super Metroid's biggest strengths is that it creates this lonely and isolated atmosphere that it carries really well. The ambient music is never too jaunty or whimsical, but also isn't as subtle as Breath of the Wild's. There also isn't too much text in the game. Aside from the few times it pops up to show you that you got a new item, there's barely any. I really like that about this game. If you're in the mood to play it, Super Metroid can be a very cool world to get lost in. Now, something I learned while on my Arduous Journey was that this game isn't an action game. Not really. Now that might sound crazy. I mean, Super Metroid is a sci-fi game set on an alien planet where a bounty hunter brings her arm cannon to shoot space pirates so she can get her pet brain sucker back. But even with all those parts, it's not an action game. It's really more about exploration, and I understand that now. To Samus, her pet could be anywhere on the surface of the planet, so she has to check every single room in order to find it. So yeah, there's shooting and stuff, but that doesn't mean you can play the game like Mega Man or Contra. Instead, it plays more like a survival puzzle game, where you have to do whatever it takes to find the last Metroid. Anyway, like I said, I started my game, got through the first few hours, found a Morph Ball, beat up a Chozo, figured out there was a run button in the game, shot up a Spore Beast, and then I got lost. Yep, not long after I killed this Spore creature and got the super missiles, I found myself lost yet again. There were no new doors I could open, there was nowhere for me to run, just this place that I thought was a designer flaw. I knew the key to beating this game probably lies somewhere beyond that point, but I needed some kind of new mine or bomb to open this path up. I tried to find a way to get past this part until I gave up and reset the console. Why, it must be a soft lock, I thought. Then again, after I wandered around for a while, I realized something else. It was possible to wall jump. Yeah, it was clunky and awkward, but there was definitely a way to leap off these walls to reach new heights. So I came up with a plan. Jump up these stupid walls for nearly 30 minutes. I imagine this is how wall jumping was originally found. Some poor kid was probably barking up the wrong tree and found out he could climb it. Anyway, like I said, it took me half an hour to realize that this strategy was probably wrong. There had to be an easier way to get past the game than this, right? Well, thankfully, there was. I was being an idiot. Instead of using bombs here or jumping up this wall here, you've got to shoot down right here. Are you kidding me? Was there even any indication that this was possible? This is why I have such a problem with this game. I can never tell whether I'm being a dope or whether I'm legitimately missing the tools to get past a certain point. I had thought the answer to this game was wall jumping up this section, but no, I don't even think the game actually ever requires you to wall jump. But I don't know. I say that now, but what about when it eventually does? I'm gonna think I'm missing something like a double jump ability when I really just need to know how to wall jump better. What this ends up doing is wasting my time. For example, it took me 30 minutes to freeze this guy in place and then bomb jump over his frozen corpse. 30 minutes to do a stupid little maneuver like that. I mean, sure, I got the wave beam and some extra missiles because of it, but come on, 30 minutes? Did it take me that long because I suck at the game or because it's not supposed to work the way I'm playing it? For all I know, there's another upgrade somewhere in the game that lets me roll into a ball while jumping, but if there isn't, I'd be running around for ages looking for something that doesn't even exist. And I'm pretty sure you need the wave beam to beat the game, so did I skip an upgrade that I'll later need? Maybe, but I don't know. I guess I just like it to be a little more clear what I can do, what I have to do, and when I should try to do all those things. I'm really trying to find a good analogy for what being a noob at Super Metroid is like. It feels like you know you're missing the tools, but that you can progress anyway since you don't know what's possible. Since wall jumping is a thing, why would I need to learn the high jump? Since freezing enemies is possible, why do I need to learn how to ball jump? It's this lack of knowledge that makes Super Metroid such a hard game to play. Anyway, after that whole freezing nightmare, I killed the lizard boy over here, struggled with more puzzles, and failed at learning from the Decora until I took another break. It had been an arduous journey for me, and I was getting a bit weary. As soon as I put the game down though, I started to realize why it was so adored by many and why it's still trying to be emulated today. The answer is actually the exact reason I hate it. Like a lot of other games I'm not a particular fan of, Super Metroid is very, very non-linear and doesn't hold your hand at all. It lets you do whatever you want, and try whatever you want. Even though it comes off as annoying to me sometimes, Super Metroid has a lot of secrets. Sometimes it'll try and teach you, like with the Shine Spark ability, but other times it'll leave the detective work up to you, like with the wall jump situation. I guess it just seems strange to me as someone who was born into the age of GameCube, but people love this game because it was created for them. Video games were still new. People wanted to know how they worked and what the limits were. They wanted to see everything that a game developer put into their creations. And Super Metroid looked at all those curious kids out there in the world and said yes. Because more so than any other game I've played, Super Metroid rewards you for struggling with its puzzles. Every time you find a new path or discover a powerful ability that you didn't even know you had, you become stronger, and the game gets easier to progress through. It's not like in some games where your reward for solving the puzzle is to do an even harder puzzle, which is really nice and makes me kinda happy. It's not just about getting through the game or beating some bosses, it truly is about progression and about bettering yourself before you move on. So with a clean look and a fresh bottle of lemonade, I picked up the game again and started to play. Hello, thank you for watching Super Metroid The Arduous Journey Episode 1. I put a lot of work into this, it was really fun to make, and I hope that you guys liked it. Part 2 should be up soon, so if you like this, then be sure to stick around for that. See ya!
Get out of my office!